first of all say thank you very much to those of you that came out to hear me speak about the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign. I want to also thank my mother for giving me the platform to be able to speak and tell you about this historic campaign. First of all, my name is Rashida Strober. I am the dark skin activist. And what that means is I advocate for the beauty of dark-skinned women and girls. This campaign is needed. It's the first of its kind. This is the first campaign speech that I have done since spearheading this campaign. And so I just want to let you guys know that you are actually witnessing history right now because of the fact that this is the first campaign speech. Let me just give you a little bit of my activism as the dark-skinned activist. Back in 1998, I started advocating for the beauty of dark-skinned women and girls through giving a speech at St. Petersburg Junior College about the Sudanese model Alec Weck. And at that time, black people were saying, and I don't know how many of you have seen Alec Weck before, but she's tall, she's very dark-skinned, and she has short hair. And a lot of black people were saying, she's ugly, she's black, she's ugly, she's not the representation of what black beauty should be. So they were pretty much blasting her in the media. And so I took the opportunity at St. Petersburg College during African American History Month to speak on that issue and address that. And I remember after giving the speech, a lot of the black males in the audience, unfortunately, they were pissed off. They were like, we don't really want to hear about that. You know, it was something that they wanted to sweep under the carpet. And that's the thing that I find, that the issue of dark skin, and I'm not speaking on black women in general now, I'm speaking particularly on dark skin beauty. It's a campaign issue that has been long overdue, and that's why I am here to spearhead that movement. Now, there is, of course, a historical basis for the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign, and that of course, is rooted in slavery. In our history, as African Americans, we were brought over here from Africa by Europeans, and from that moment on, the standard of beauty has been set by Europeans. So anything that does not look closer to a European, light, bright, is considered to be black, ugly. I've been called all kinds of names. Black and ugly, crusty, monkey mouth. It just goes on and on and on. And I had to suffer that type of what I call dark skin mental abuse, which is culminated into post-traumatic dark skin syndrome, wherein you grow up after experiencing that type of abuse and you have self-esteem issues. Through what people have said about you in terms of how you look. And so a lot of dark-skinned black women, whether they admit it or not, because a lot of them don't want to admit to it because they don't want to be called a hater or jealous, or they don't want to be looked at as being divisive, and all these things I've been called, but I have no problem with it because, again, this campaign is long overdue. The detractors, I just want to mention a little bit about the detractors. I have been banned from St. Petersburg College. I cannot come and perform my play there. I cannot come and talk about that issue there. I have been kicked out of a lot of Facebook groups. I have been called all types of names. I was on a national radio talk show called the Tommy Sotomayor Show, and I was blasted on that show for my views. And so my thing is, I want you guys to know that there's a lot of people that are upset and who are trying to quiet me because I am dealing with this issue head on. I'm speaking about dark-skinned beauty. As well, I have supporters, the Weekly Challenger, namely, where I wrote an article for them entitled The Dark-Skinned Beauty Revolution, speaking in terms of Lupita and what she means to the dark-skinned beauty revolution, as well as Women Unified, an organization that deals with women's issues. They've asked me to write an article on this topic, which I'm going to entitle Equalizing the Beauty of Dark-Skinned Women, because as I see it right now, the beauty of dark-skinned women is not equal to light-skinned women, to white women, Hispanic women. Any woman that's lighter than a dark-skinned woman, their beauty is not seen as equal. So what I want to do is to level the beauty playing field, because the thing about a woman, her beauty is a huge part of her power. And if you're telling the dark-skinned woman that she's the ugliest woman on the planet, which a lot of people might disagree with me, but I know these are facts. And if anybody wants to challenge me and say, no, dark-skinned women aren't considered the ugliest women on the planet, it's a lie. It's not true. And so if you are being stripped of your beauty bargaining power, then what else do you have? Sure, you can go to school, you can get educated. I have a master's degree. And so, in this world, one of the things that women need is their beauty. And so all I'm saying is what I want to do, the goal of this campaign is to equalize the beauty of dark-skinned women and girls. And I want to make sure I'm clear. This is not about just black women. This is particularly about dark-skinned women and girls. And so what has spearheaded this campaign, I have been performing a play that I wrote called The Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge, which I wrote back in 2006, but I've been performing the play in different areas around the country since really 2011. And so people have asked me, do you have a book version of this? So I've been working on completing the book version of A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge, which is almost complete right now. So I'm starting off my campaign, I'm kicking off my campaign with the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign speech right here in St. Petersburg, Florida, to let everybody know that this movement, this campaign is up and it's full steam ahead, and I'm not going to stop because it is international. I do have supporters all over the place, Europe, Africa, they're there. I've been able to utilize the internet to be able to get this message out. And like I tell people, I said, look, I've been the dark-skinned advocate way before social media, way before the internet. I've been here doing this work, and there's other people, there's a handful of women like me that have been advocating for dark-skinned beauty. So, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to me. Let your friends and family know about this movement. You can find me on Facebook, you can find me on YouTube. I'm all over the internet, and look out for the book. And right now I just want to stop talking because I know some people have questions. If you have any questions you want to ask me, any concerns, I'll be glad to deal with that. Yes,
you spoke of dark skin, emotional abuse and traumatic syndrome and whatnot, which are kind of like mental health terms. I could, if I wanted to, I could say, well, as an ex-offender, I've been called a felon, convict, crook and all of that. I don't embrace those things because it's not me, okay? I could be going to a psychologist and says, oh, I got ex-convict, traumatic syndrome and whatnot, and I need medication. I could have embraced it when doctors told me I was dying of kidney failure. I didn't embrace that stuff, and it went away from me, okay? I survived a very long prison sentence because I thought of our forefathers, coming across the ocean in the mid-Atlantic slave trade. They didn't say, oh, I got these mental problems, I can't take it anymore, I'm going to kill myself, or I need medication. If we want to claim that we're the children of the strongest of the strong, we should act like it instead of embracing these medical terms, psychological terms. Other people, our oppressors, they're not going around talking about, oh, we're suffering from white supremacist syndrome and whatnot, and we need medication. Okay, if we want to claim we're stronger than them or just as good as them, then we should not be embracing terms that, oh, I'm emotionally abused. Right? I'm too strong to submit to being emotionally abused and all of this. So that's one thing I would encourage you to get away from.
The thing that I want to express about that is one of the ways that I've been able to, I'm an actor first of all, I'm a performer. And so one of the ways that I've been able to deal with my issues is through the performing arts. And one thing I want to say about the performing arts is there's a lack of dark-skinned women who are allowed to be in leading roles, seen as the love interest, not just the slave roles. It's very difficult. And so while I embrace my issues that I've had with the dark-skinned mental abuse that I've undergone, I feel that I am becoming stronger and more powerful because I'm shining the spotlight on these issues with this campaign. Because what the campaign is doing, it is to make dark-skinned women equal, seen as equally beautiful as all other races of women. So the unborn dark-skinned little girls, like my little girl, for example, she won't have to go to school and be called black and ugly or monkey mouth or all these derogatory names. If you shine the spotlight on these issues and make people aware that, hey, this hurts, this is painful, this creates self-esteem problems, and I've seen it over and over again. I'm telling you, I've seen it. This is not something that's in my head or I'm making up. It's something that is real. I get messages from YouTube, I get messages on Facebook all the time with black women, black girls telling me, thank you. They're glad that I'm doing this because, again, it goes back to their insecurities. They don't want to be seen as being jealous or a hater. They don't want that. So you have to have someone out there that's advocating specifically for these dark-skinned women and girls. But I do appreciate your question. Yes, sir.
So the dark-skinned women represent like Rosa Parks. And Rosa Parks, when she sat down on the bus, Martin Luther King stood up for her and the legal system because she decided that she wanted to, you know what I'm saying, sit down like everybody. Like he was saying, she didn't accept the labels of her not being able to have the privilege of sitting there. So, but she went through the trial and the tribulation of saying, I'm not going to accept this label. And so your organization, from my understanding, is saying to the world that the dark-skinned women are not going to accept this label. And what you're doing with your organization, from my understanding, is that you're doing like Martin Luther King did. You know, you're boycotting certain things, you know, with your words, with your actions, stating that, you know, we want the same, we're demanding the same opportunity. We're not going to receive you saying that we're not as beautiful, we're not as this or that. We're standing together to say that, you know what, we are somebody too, and this organization is supporting us. Just like all of the people came together, they boycotted the bus system, and they didn't do that to show that these rights need to be equal for everybody in this arena.
Yes, that's a very good assessment of what's going on. And it's so funny that you mentioned Rosa Parks because I was just speaking about Claudette Colvin, who is the real true mother of the civil rights movement. And I felt like in terms of this whole dark skin, equalizing the beauty of dark skinned women, even when we talk about history, dark skinned women are stripped of their historical significance. Going back to Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was not the first person, the first woman to get up out of her seat and get arrested. It was a dark-skinned young lady named Claudette Colvin. And people have just took that and just swept it under the carpet. And I'm not saying it's the only reason, but one of the main reasons why Claudette Colvin was not allowed to have that title was because she was dark-skinned. She didn't look the part. And a lot of people, they've argued with me over that, but those are the facts. So things like that let me know that we've got to work hard to make sure that dark-skinned women are seen as equally beautiful, because I believe if we do that work, then dark-skinned women's rights will fall over into every other area of society. Yes?
And I believe that Jesus said in the Word of God that Jesus come to set the captive free. And so, Rashida, I believe that you are following in the steps of Jesus and to set those that has those insecurities where they are not believing God, but like Jesus always made a parable for those that didn't believe and stuff. But and so I believe that that the Lord is using you in that way to speak to those that have those insecurities.
So it's ingrained in the society. It's ingrained in African American culture to view dark skin as being bad, and the lighter you are, I call it light skin privilege versus dark skin oppression. And this Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign, anyone that feels that dark-skinned women should be seen as equally beautiful can join this campaign. A lot of my detractors, they tried to paint me as being this bitter, angry, racist woman. I'm far from that. You could be, I don't care what color you are, if you believe that dark-skinned women should be treated as equals and that their beauty should be on the same beauty playing field as, like I said, Hispanic women, Asian women, any woman of a lighter hue, you can do your part to join in on this campaign. There's even an Indian Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign. They go through the same issues. It's not just a black American thing. This is worldwide. The skin lightening industry is $1 billion industry, which tells me that there's a severe problem. I have a question over here.
In high school and middle school, being light skinned, fair skinned, I went through hell. you know, just being this color, we consider it more as weaker to me than a dark-skinned. And then they look at a dark-skinned person as, you know, powerful or stronger or what have you. So, you know, like, it was totally opposite for me. And I went through that. Being lighter than you are. I still went through my trials and tribulations and being picked on because they thought I was maybe, you know, weak, scary, strong, I mean, you know, less than they were, or whatever the case may have been. So I don't know, me personally, I've always looked up to just black women in our race and as a whole kind of equal. I didn't separate it from light-skinned or dark-skinned because I think we all went through hell to a certain extent. So, and some worse than others, because I was picked on too. So.
Oh, and with me being in between the two colors, and not to be a narrow-minded individual, I do see with the darker that your I was kind of surprised for you to say my self-esteem was low. Your self-esteem was kind of low because I actually see. Well, my baby is really, really dark, and a couple of the encounters that I had with the dark people makes me say to her, well, to the next person about her, when she get in school, they ain't gonna like her because her self-esteem gonna be so high. Like my baby's self-esteem is out of the ordinary. Okay, and then I see for the red people on the lighter side, actually, people making statements about the lighter people that they are weaker.
Yeah.
So I see that. I do see that. I see that with the darker side, and then I see that with the light side. That's true. That is really true. And then me, I'm just like here, like in between.
Yeah.
It's like a 50-50.
It's like,
I see God as making beautiful flowers of different kinds of, you know, people. But I still understand what you were saying, you know, for the ones who have not gotten there yet, you know, Jesus always broke it down for them.
Let me just say, the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign, the campaign, what your funds will go to, and what I'm doing right now, I have a website. You can just go to the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign, type in Rashida Strober. I'm raising $1 million to be able to tour around the world with this message. Thank you. I want to be able to distribute A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge all over the world. I want to also be able to do performances of A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge all over the world in schools, churches, universities, organizations. And I also am devising a Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign, a specific awareness campaign to deal with these issues so that we can have forums like this and to do it on an international scale. So if you believe that dark-skinned women and girls should be treated as equally in terms of their beauty, then please go and donate to this campaign. And I just want to thank y'all for coming out today and taking the time to listen to me. Thank you guys for taking the time to give your feedback and your thought process in terms of how you feel about this issue, because this campaign is a campaign that is truly about the people. It's about the dark-skinned woman and the dark-skinned girls. So I want to thank you guys very much.